And she said, at once she saw the unreality of disease and of conditions. And she was free from the belief that they had any power or control over her. Now, all our society and throughout the ages, people have believed that conditions and disease has power over us. It sure looks like it, right? And as long as we believe that, it does have power over us. But she came to this great realization of, aha, this disease doesn't have power over me. And she said it was as if an axe was struck at the root of the tree of her belief, and that the old conditions, the disease, passed away as fast as she disowned the old habits of belief. That's pretty powerful. The old disease, the conditions, passed away as soon as she let go of the old habits of belief. Well, her friends were astonished to see her healed, right? She'd been sick for 23 years, as long as they knew her practically. And so they began to go to her because several of them were also in states of ill health. And the first one that went to her and said, would you help me like you helped yourself, had what they called consumption. We now call it tuberculosis. And the doctors were saying it looked like, she wasn't going to get better. Well, she went to Melinda Kramer every day for a week. She had a doctor's appointment coming up, but she wanted this healing, and she went to her every day, and Melinda treated, and they worked together. Well, when she went to the doctor, he found that tuberculosis was completely gone. And it never returned. She never got it again. And then another one of Melinda's friends had been an invalid for 17 years. And as she worked with Melinda, she was completely healed. And what Melinda said about it was interesting. She said, truth made her whole, and I neither saw nor named the disease. So she didn't have to go diagnose it, a disease, or we could say it, we don't have to diagnose a mental condition or whatever. She just knew the truth, and that created the healing circumstance. Well, Melinda decided that she would set aside one afternoon each week and invite people to come and work with her if they had situations they'd like to be healed from. And so people began to come to her, and soon they started asking her, teach us what you're doing. We want to know how to do it ourselves. And what she would do was she would do meditation every day, silent meditation and affirmation. And the more she did this, the more she realized that cause and effect were forever united, and that there was no separation of spirit and body. All was oneness. So again, the more she meditated, the more she treated, the stronger she felt about this. And she knew, I want to quote her on this one. She said, the principal thought she held while treating was the infinitude, the omnipresence, and the allness of God, and that God is spirit, hence, all that is spirit, whose law is love. And so as she became stronger and stronger in this conviction of this, she became clearer and clearer in the process she used of of how to treat. Well, one night, she had what we would call an out-of-body experience. She said that it was like she was up looking down at her body, and it was all this kind of white, cloud-like thing enveloping her body. And she said that she realized then that all form was a thought in mind, the one mind. So she is getting stronger and stronger in this realization that there is no duality, there is no separation. And she said, while she was in this state of mystical state, where am I? What am I? And she said a center of light shone, and she knew that she was an individualized form of the omnipresence which lies back of all form. The divine mind which contains itself within the things that are seen, the mind not seen, but which itself is consciousness. She says, I was not only conscious, but was consciousness itself. So she really got it at this deep, deep level that there is only one, that she was one in the one, of the one, and felt the power and the beauty of this wonderful knowing. And so she began teaching as people requested, and she founded the Home College of Divine Science. And she and Nona Brooks were credited with founding Divine Science. So she began to teach principle and to write about it. And then she decided to start a magazine, which she called Harmony. And they said that in this, she really hit hard the idea that there is no duality. There are no two minds, divine and mortal. There are no two selves, a higher and a lower, or two powers, a good and an evil, fighting against each other. She really taught there is oneness. And she described, as she put together her ideas of what divine science were, that divine science was the truth of infinite being and its application as the Christ method of healing. She says, to state the truth correctly and express harmony, it is essential that we perceive the unchanging truth of being, which underlies all existence, and then proceed to make statements that are true of being. She says all your affirmations will be on the side of wholeness, abundant supply, and present possessions. And she says when this is done, when you totally accept this, then permanent health, harmony, and supply will result.